I'm MM2K. I'm your host. I am your host, and I am the host of this show where we talk about the latest and greatest in video gaming news. Thank you for joining us. Today's episode is going to be about first-party exclusives. Are they the G's B's of everything? Like, do they matter? This is a conversation that Cold Blood and I have all the time. We don't land exactly in the same space. And I don't think he's wrong. As a matter of fact, like, in talking to Cold Blood, he's helped me better understand and evolve my position on this. Apologies for that. I don't know what's going on, y'all. Okay. Hopefully that works. But yeah, my position on this was totally evolved after talking to Cold Blood. In conversating with him, I realized that I don't want to completely dismiss first party exclusives because of my previous experience. My previous experience was unique to my gaming experience, just as Cold Blood's experience was unique to him. So because of that, I think it's just important to understand that we want to put the second party and third party exclusives in their right bucket and put the importance of first party exclusives in their right bucket. And it is not going to be the same for every company, right? So let me do this. I'm going to bullet this out, because first I want to talk about the claim, the reality, and the support behind it. Well, no, let's switch that up. Let's put the history, the reality. I want to do this like so. I want to put this right here. Will that fit there? Nice. Yes, you're fitting there nicely. Okay. So here's the claim. The claim is that, well, before we get into all that, let me do this. We're gonna get it together. We're gonna get it in a sound place. Believe you me. Hold on one second. Let's do this, because I got to pay the bills first. So this is our website. Oh, Jesus Christ, these ads. This is the website, pntsnetwork.com. This is where you can catch all of our content, the latest and greatest in the PNTS network world. You can catch it, the PNTS network landscape and the GEiX landscape. You can catch everything here. Sorry about that. Jesus Louise. Okay. You can catch everything here, including all of our podcasts. Okay, I think that did it. Holy cow. Catch our podcasts that we do either on GEiX or on our own individual channels. And if you want to go to our members' content, which you can, and if you like what you're seeing, not today probably, but any other time here on this channel or anywhere else, go to MM2K Gaming, right? And if you go there, you'll come across my page, and you'll actually see us live right now on Twitch. And what you'll also see is the YouTube content and stuff that we have available, excuse me, for you to opine. And you can also catch all my other content where I'm at, where I podcast, where I make content at. You can go check the links for that. You know what? I like is that a Doom mask? An MF Doom mask? I don't know what that is. I can't show the ads because Google will smack my hand and say, you are the website owner and you're trying to show the ads too, and you're viewing the ads, we're gonna take some revenue from you. Some goofy stuff that YouTube likes to do. Anyway, or not YouTube, but Google likes to do. All right, so that's where you can get your content. Also, you keep hearing us talk about this GEiX. You want to find out more about GEiX, you can go to the GEiX tab, look at the content, look at the Discord, find out everything that you need to about what we do there. Check it out on the GEiX tab. We're doing giveaways and stuff like that. We're gonna have a big rollout soon, so you definitely don't want to miss that. Where we're giving away games. We got over 40 Xbox games. We got games that you can play on the Nvidia GeForce Now. We're trying to get some codes for PlayStation and so forth. So yeah, definitely check us out over on GEiX. We got PC codes, you name it. All right, now I can get to the show. I just need one more break. I think I don't know what happened. Hold on one second. Give me one moment, and we can get to the show. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's talk about today's topic. I want to first show you guys something that I think is at the heart of this matter. We're going to discuss that, and then we're going to talk about the history behind where I come from with this, and then just the whole overall reality. So let's show you guys this. And I was looking for this yesterday when I was doing the Palworld, when we was having a Palworld conversation, because this related to that as well. Because I was saying in that stream, which was a great stream, no over sneezing or anything, go check that out. What I was saying in that stream is that the argument around Palworld is ridiculous. Like the fact that we got AAA genre defining gamers that are in the tizzy because this game in early access is available on Xbox and it isn't available on PlayStation, and they're crapping their trousers over that and trying to find ways to shoot this game down. Because of that, I think it's ridiculous. I think there's a lot of reasons to scrutinize this game, and I think Nintendo is just sitting there with their lawyers getting ready to drop the gambit. Drop the bomb on me. I think they're getting ready. I think we're going to see something by next week. That's just my opinion, because there's more discovery about assets being lifted and stuff like that from Pokemon. I think this is about to get real ugly. That being said, and who knows, because of that, the developers of Palworld might be trying to negotiate behind the scenes with Nintendo. Now, how Nintendo is going to play this, we don't know. We'll see. With that said, I think we'll find out something definitively next week on what their path will be. That's just my opinion. That being said, I don't know if this is a game that needs to be discussed in the realm of the console war. Let's go here real quick. What do I mean by that? I mean, when we talk about the console war, we talk about how the platforms are competing against each other. That is the purest definition of the console war. You think about the purest definition of the console war, not with all this fanboy fluff added to it, then you realize, hey, look, the thing that definitively tells who's going to be the winner in this space are AAA genre defining games. That's always been the decision maker. In the AAA genre, because the way that the pyramid works is that whoever has the most desired, best AAA genre defining games gets the hardcore gamer. The second level of the pyramid is the hardcore gamer is looked at as the cool kid or the best kid now in your clan when it comes to games like Call of Duty or whatever. And then the rest of that pyramid is the casual gamers then either want to flock to wherever the best gamer in their clan is, or they want to do what the cool kid is doing. It's like when you see the cool kid at school with the bomber jacket or whatever article of clothing is what's in right now. You see them with that and you're like, oh, I want to grab that. It was never on your mind until you saw the cool kid with it. Now that you see the cool kid with it, you want to identify with the cool kid. Even though you'll never do exactly what the cool kid does, you want to identify with the cool kid, so you grab the cool kid merchandise. A lot of that happens in gaming because these AAA genre defining games, like nobody that plays Fortnite and Call of Duty all day looks at God of War and says, you know what? I think I'm going to beat that. That's not their game. Like I have friends and family that I'll show a God of War to. Well, I'll show a Horizon Forbidden West 2. And I'll be like, oh, that looks dope. But they're not buying it. If they get it for free, they might try it. But they're fiending and itching for Fortnite, right? So because of that, they're not going to sit there and they don't, the 18 million or the 20-something million that Spider-Man or God of War sells is not because of them. What ends up happening is that God of War that's selling 18 million or 20-something million, that's a massive amount for the hardcore, that exclusive group, the hardcore gamer. And so when they see that, they're like, holy crap, I need that game. So they grab the game. And then again, because of the cool kid effect, the casuals follow them. They're not going to play Call of Duty. I mean, they're not going to play God of War. They're not going to play Horizon. It's not the game specifically that draws them in. It's the direction of the gamers. Like whenever you go buy a TV from somewhere, you're not going to use every single feature in the TV. But wherever the nerds say is the best TV, oh, this one has AMOLED, Falcon, Crescent, pixelation, photometers. That's what it sounds like to them. To me, it's HDR10, got this, that, and that, and you know, the pixel, the what do you call it? The upscaling and all that. That's what it sounds like to them. So like the pixelation, pixtar, fumigation, faberizer. It's gibberish to them. Like I have a cousin that calls me up regularly and he says, yo, cuzzo, what's the best TV to get? I got a friend that's buying a TV. And I'll explain it to him, be like, oh yeah, this TV does this. And this TV does this. And he's like, yep, gotcha, And then when I say the model, he says, okay, oh, all right, great. Thanks, cuzzo, bye. Like all that gibberish I gave him, I'm trying to break it down to him so he understands as well, because of course I'm a nerd about this stuff and nerds love talking about nerdistry, but that doesn't matter to the common folk. I am the cool kid when it comes to the tech, meaning I am the what we call them the what is the business term for that? The field matter expert, the FME is something. The field matter expert on it. I'm the field matter expert on it. He knows that, so he's come wherever TV I'm getting. He's getting because he knows it's good. He knows it's a good TV because if I'm scoping it out, if I'm picking it out, if it's the one that I select, then that's the one he's going to go with. Xbox has to begin to decide what demographic it wants to appeal to. And I think they've decided that, but I think there's some gamers that just don't want to, they don't want to be honest to that reality. Some are trying to be honest to it, but then now they're trying to fade over to it. Like I saw someone put out there today that AAA games are unsustainable and Palworld sold this much or whatever, and versus Spider-Man. I'm looking at Spider-Man. I did the short numbers. Spider-Man, how much I think Spider-Man costs $200 million. They may have put $300 million, but I think it costs $200 million. I could be wrong. It could have cost $300 million, but I thought Spider-Man 2, let's look it up. How much did Marvel Spider-Man 2 cost to make on PlayStation? I thought it was $215 million. Okay, $300 million to make. So they might be right. But in 11 days, Spider-Man made what? $350 million. So in 11 days, they made their money back. That's an astonishing rate. Hold on one second. I want to pull something from my last mic check. Let's see here. Click here. I want to pull something from the last mic check. Let's talk about it. And then we'll actually get to my tweet. So, this is from the last NRO podcast that we have. Marvel Spider-Man, as far as the top 20 games of the entire year in 2023, ranks 4th. Marvel Spider-Man, as far as the top 20 games of 2023, ranks 4th. Let me do another one. When? So it was $350 million. When did Spider-Man 2 PS5 come out? October 20th. So really, only 2 months in the market, 2 months in a week. So only 9 weeks on the market for the entire year of 2023. Again, the entire year for 2023, it was only on the market for 9 weeks out of 54 or 56. Come on. Oh, gosh. Sorry about that, y'all. Out of 52 weeks out of a year, Spider-Man was only available 9 of those weeks. And in 9 of those weeks, they were able to land the number 4 spot in sales by just being on one platform. That's amazing. It outdid Tears of the Kingdom. And you know how well Nintendo games sell. Nintendo games sell like crazy. So we know that. So the fact that this game was able to not only sell well on a singular platform, but outsell the best-selling Nintendo game for the year is nuts. Well, to be fair, the Tears of the Kingdom sales are only physical. Nintendo digital sales aren't included. But even at that, we'll take that. Even at that. Marvel Spider-Man 2 landed the number 4 spot on NPD, even though they only sold on one platform. That's amazing. So when you consider that, even though Palworld is a success and it's going to sell like gangbusters, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity that you'll see a Xbox game. I mean, not an Xbox game. You'll see a game like that happen. Like Fortnite's and Palworlds don't happen every year. I'm sorry. Give me one moment. I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Jesus Christ. Oh, I don't know what's going on. But anywho. So what are we talking about here? So yeah, Cold Blood, that's what I said. I said, yeah, Nintendo doesn't give out their they don't give out their data for digital copies, but still, Spider-Man 4 selling as well as it did. I mean, let's be honest. Which, if we're going to mention Nintendo and all their sales, really, Nintendo would fill this list. Like their platform just sells its first party exclusives that like no other platform sells theirs. When it comes to, and that's why I don't like talking Nintendo in this discussion, because Nintendo does not operate like a AAA genre defining platform. It operates like a handheld. Nintendo has been able to bring its handheld success over to the AAA genre defining. Well, no, or they've been able to bring their handheld success and what works for them in their handheld over to their hybrid console. But anybody else wanting to get into this space, it's going to be different for you. You're not going to be able to do what Nintendo does. Nintendo's exclusives are just too dominant in that realm in order for them to be talked about in the space. Like their secret to success cannot be replicated, period. It just can't. That's why they do their own thing. They're not worried about graphics, having the best and biggest graphics and all in the top notch, this and that. It's all in their software and how people just jump on that software that's not available anywhere else. And that's why they would never, ever. I saw some silly discussion about them putting their stuff on PC. They don't need to. They don't need to. They have an ecosystem that's built upon, we have this exclusive software that is killer, that's crazy, and it sells our hardware. And we don't want to weaken the strength of the hardware because it's a cyclical event with us. We're going to keep this all tied into the hardware that's being sold because of our software that's being sold because it's exclusive to the hardware. You understand what I'm saying? If you don't understand business and you don't understand supply and demand, you wouldn't understand why Nintendo does what they do. They will never put their stuff on PC at this frequency. There's just no need to right now. Until that model crashes and burns, they don't need to. If that day comes, they'll be able to adjust. They're already looking into partnerships with cloud and stuff like that. They'll adjust where they need to. But it's been working for Nintendo. People just feel entitled and just say, you know what? I want your game and I want it everywhere and give it to me now. No. If it goes against my business model, screw you. If you want it that bad, come and get my product. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of people are fine with getting my product in order to play my stuff. What makes you any different? Is it the hundreds and hundreds of millions of people are crazy, or just you, the person that is entitled, that feels entitled? You know what I'm saying? So, Nintendo doesn't hold any credence to that. And quite honestly, I don't blame them. With that said, however, it is great that Spider-Man is able to still rank the way it ranks amongst the other games, being that they were only on one platform. That's crazy. So when we talk about AAA genre defining games and the impact that they have and what's unsustainable and not, when you have a game like Spider-Man that in 11 days makes back its money, even though it cost $300 million, that is a hell of a wonderful sign that you're going to continue to invest. Like, for instance, when you look at oil and oil companies, it takes hundreds of millions of dollars of investment for them to make their billions. But they're making billions, so it's worth it. Same here. Now, Palworld, unless it gets interrupted, unless they end up in a whole bunch of litigation, if it continues on this trajectory, it's going to sell like crazy. It's going to do better than any game. But that is a model that is, I don't know if you want to call it more sustainable, less sustainable than the AAA genre defining model, because a game like Palworld is a lot harder to come across than a AAA genre defining game. A AAA genre defining game may take more to make, but we come across AAA genre defining games we have games of the year every year. We come across like three to five genre defining games that get critically acclaimed every year. You don't have 3 to 5 different Palworlds every year. You don't have 3 to 5 Fortnites every year. And trust me, many people have tried, and they just were not able to do it. So sitting there, even trying to pretend like you're joking or trying, whatever it is, even fathoming that, or trying to create this discussion around the unsustainability of AAA games is a fool's errand. There's a lot of risk with AAA genre defining games, sure, because there's a lot that can be spent and you have a dud. And you can blow a lot of money. But you have a lot of companies that fall to the wayside trying to make a Palworld. A lot of indie developers just crumble up and wither away. Many of them do. You don't get games like Palworld every year like you do a AAA genre defining game. So yeah, it's great to have a game like Palworld. It's great to have a game like Fortnite. If you have it exclusive to your platform, damn, that's a hell of a thing. But I don't think that's a formula that you can try to replicate on an annual basis and come up with. You have that hit, you better nurture it and love it and secure it and hold it. Yes, it'll do something great for your platform, but it's not something that you can replicate so easily and rely on as much as you can genre defining games, even though they are expensive. So that now leads me to the point of my conversation, which is pretty much centered in this tweet. Because now I focus my attention on the Xbox gamer. Xbox gamer. I feel like that you guys are too slow. Now hear me out. I feel like you guys are too slow in noticing what's happening around you. Like, you guys look at me and call me a flip-flopper and call me all types of dirty names because I no longer support Xbox the way that I did when I first started this. Because you feel like that you're stuck in this place where back in 2017, 2018, you saw content creators who saw dollar signs with PlayStation content creation all of a sudden just go and abandon Xbox for no good apparent reason at the time. Like before God of War 2018 came out, you saw people begin to flock to PlayStation because the PlayStation content creators were just killing it. No doubt about it. They were killing it. If you were a PlayStation content creator, you came on the scene talking about these silly Xbots and these X losers or whatever, then you were going to get a following. The wheels are reversed. The shoe's on the other foot this time around. It's completely different and it's mutated. If you're Xbox content creator, I mean, I'm seeing people with the most ridiculous and the stupidest takes being taken seriously, but because they're constantly on the internet praising and lapping Xbox's excretions, they got thousands of followers overnight. The most ridiculous claims, tens of thousands of videos. Sock it to the pony, sold content, coat pony. That's all you got to say. You will see success overnight. I remember a particular content creator who I had to go to the community. What's up, Sean? I had to go to the community of other Xbox creators and I said, look, y'all, I think this guy's talented and he's batting for the same team. Like, I need y'all support for this guy. Like, it was that much of a struggle to get people to watch Xbox content back then. But now that this phony salt content has made its way and gaining some popularity, it's even hit my son, believe it or not. Hold on one second. My son even came to me one day and was giving me some Xbot zealot drip gibberish. And he's a PC gamer. So I said, where are you getting this gibberish from? Halo's better than God of War. Halo Infinite. I said, where is this? And he's telling me stuff that I'm hearing from some of these salt creators that are PC gamers that used to love PlayStation last gen, but miraculously, even though PlayStation is a lot better product at the beginning of this gen that they were last gen, and you have the average gamer actually at this point in time denouncing Xbox more than they ever have. Like Xbox this generation is actually selling less as far as consoles are concerned, and in the realm of PC where Xbox was day and date most of the time anyway. They would, don't forget about what's that, UWP. They've been looking to signify they were looking to what do you call that? Converge the SKUs back then. So Xbox always been day and date. And some might argue that the offerings of Xbox when they started rolling this out, Gears 4 and 5, and Forza back then was way better than what they're offering now. Yeah, they're bringing you more games, but I would argue that Gears 4, the Forza Horizons, Motorsport games are better than the more recent offerings that we got from Xbox now that are coming over there. I'd rather play Gears 4 and 5 than I would Redfall any day, and Starfield combined. I'd rather play the old Forzas, and I'm not a race car guy, than I would the stuff that they have now. Now, granted, with PC Game Pass, you can get those games in a subscription service. So yeah, it's cheaper gaming. But if you enjoy cheaper gaming over qualitative gaming, then that's you. But why is it so much that you got to now switch flags, which I don't believe in boasting for a flag, period. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can be a fan of a product, you can have a bias, but basically just saying this is my favorite, so therefore that renders its competition useless, so I got to sit there and denigrate the competition. I'm not into that. I could have a, like for instance, I prefer GFN over Amazon Luna. The ratio between my usage of Luna versus GFN is phenomenal. It's like 1,001. But I don't feel like I need to denigrate Amazon Luna just because one is better. Now, when you look at my discussions of Xbox, I'm critical of Xbox because of the expectations that they've set in becoming a brand in this space, and how they fell off so hard from the expectations that they set, and the fact that they're actually trying to pivot from those expectations, do a hard pivot, but they're not being transparent about it, and the fact that their community, even though they're not being, they said some things that are clear cut, but when the question arises, they dance around it. That's where there's a lack of transparency. They have said things like, we want to make a bunch of AA games. Matt Booty said this years ago. And we want to do this. They're telling you that they're stepping away from the AAA genre defining space as where they pivot from. You can't out-console Sony. Even if Starfield was an 11 out of 10, they have said some definitive, clear-cut things that I think in you looking at what's the word I'm looking for? And you looking at I can't think of the word. These sinuses are attacking me so much I can't even think straight now. It's right there on the tip of my tongue. But when you think about the context of what they're saying, it's very clear. But then because they're not fully transparent and saying, look, like Nintendo did, look, we're not fighting in that space. Good luck to PlayStation. Good luck to Xbox. We're doing something different. Instead of Xbox saying, look, guys, we still will support AAA genre defining games. We put a lot into Activision and Blizzard, but our focus is giving you guys a bevy of great gaming experiences that don't necessarily have to be AAA. We're going to give you games that may be a bit of a smaller chunk as far as ambition are concerned, as far as investment is concerned. But the flip side of that is it's going to take us less time to make these games. So we're going to give you more of these great experiences that will keep Game Pass honest and keep you flooded with a lot of great content. Now, that actually, for the hardcore Xbox gamer, should be a delight. It should be something they look forward to, because when you look at the atypical Xbox gamer, the overwhelming majority of them like to just go through games in a Rolodex fashion. Hold on one second. Routinely, when you talk to an Xbox gamer and you look at your gamer score and you look at how they sporadically go through games, it's not about completing a game in the legacy fashion, starting from taking a title or a few titles and just playing them at a certain time, hunkering down, beating them, moving on to the next move. It ain't about that. When you're a gamer on Xbox, because of Game Pass, you can now flip through games like a Rolodex. Take a tidbit of this one and see if that's up your liking, and take a tidbit of it's like a sample platter. It's like people routinely bring, if you ever watch the Food Network and chefs are having a competition and you just take a sample of their dish and move on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? That's what gaming on Xbox is. It's not a completionist affair. Opposed to with PlayStation, it is a completionist affair. That's why they ask Xbox gamers for their gamer score, and Xbox gamers start to cringe like, well, what do you want my gamer score for? It's all about it's devoid of a completionist sense. It's devoid of, hey, let me filter through, or let me examine what's available this year. Let me examine what's available. And out of the most talked about or the most anticipated games that are available that suits my needs, let me select the ones that I'm most interested in. And in that selection process, finish them through, give my synopsis of them, and move on to the next guardrailed set of games. That's not what Game Pass is about, or being an Xbox gamer is about. Being an Xbox gamer is all about just going through games, trying them out, sampling them, putting some time into them, moving on to the next one. Okay, I'll try a little bit of this, I'll try a little bit of that, try a little bit of this, I'll try a little bit of that. Oh, that was cool. I might go back to that one. But I just feel like it's more, for lack of a better term, it's more spastic than it is focused. So Xbox coming out and saying, look, we understand, look, we can't do both. You can't have a bunch of games that are AAA in nature and drop 4 a year, even with 26 studios. You just can't do it. Because all 26 studios don't develop AAA genre-defining games. Some games, the average AAA genre-defining game takes at least 5 years now. At least 5 years, if they're serious. And they take 5 years, but at the same time, a lot of these got to have extra content. Then the support may be an additional 3 years. You can't have 4 of those a year. So we want to give you volume. So we got to cap the scope somewhere. Yeah, maybe this isn't a $200, $300 million game. Maybe it's a $50 million game. We'll crank out a bunch of $50 million games. That should be an Xbox gamer's dream. But instead of it being an Xbox gamer's dream, because it's not an Xbox gamer's dream, well, it should be an Xbox gamer's dream, but the reason why it's not promoted that way and it's not shared that way is because the Xbox gamer is facing an identity crisis. Are you about the Xbox brand, or are you hating about the PlayStation brand? That's the duality, the dubious duality of the Xbox gamer today. The dubious duality of the Xbox gamer today is that they don't know if they want to support the Xbox brand or if they want to just simply hate on the PlayStation brand. What the PlayStation gamer is doing is they're saying, look, in this space, we are the best, and anybody try to compete in this space, we're going to give them that work. That's what the PlayStation gamer does. So there is no duality there, because that's why the PlayStation gamer, they don't go after the Nintendo gamer. At times they applaud them. Nintendo's killing it over there. But Nintendo's not trying to compete with them in that space. So there is no duality. By association, they go after the Xbox gamer because their mantra is the space. We're about AAA genre defining gaming. PlayStation is the best at it. Anybody that comes in this space, we coming at you. The Xbox gamer is all about trying to talk about how well Phil did and how Phil turned Xbox around and helped change it. And I think to a certain degree that is true. But you cannot celebrate what Xbox is becoming and celebrate what they are if you're still focused on PlayStation. I'm going to have to tell you, you cannot do that still focused on PlayStation. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to realize that you're operating in a different space. If you're operating in a different space, then don't worry about them. Worry about you. Too much you guys are stretching yourselves in too many directions. PlayStation gamers are in the right space. They are guarding the AAA genre defining space. You're not in that space anymore if you're following the Xbox train. The Xbox train is doing a split from that area and it's going in a different direction. You can look at this past Developers Direct and tell that. Avowed, Hellblade, hell, even Indiana Jones. Even if Indiana Jones, you think it will be a cool experience because of the cutscenes, because of Harrison Ford's likeness, and some of the tropes that are available in the trailer, you cannot tell me with an honest face that that is a AAA game. You know, to your heart's content, that is not AAA animation. That is not AAA gameplay. You know it isn't. It's just some great looking cutscenes, some great looking atmospherics. That is not AAA gameplay. Indiana Jones, as cool as the aesthetic around him is, he's on that whip sliding down the rope. That looks like Cold. I'm gonna steal this from Cold Blood. Look like somebody built his ass in a Unity engine. Like, stop. Doesn't mean it's gonna be a bad game. It just won't be a AAA banger. And that's what Xbox is showing you. Look, even with our AAA studios, we are making AA games. We're using AAA talent. Instead of using AAA talent to sit here and take a bigger risk in developing something for 5 to 7 years and then it fall flat because of the risk that's associated with AAA games, how about we use that AAA talent to make AA games where it's more sure that they're going to land with the AA game. The scope and the expectation of that game will be lessened as far as, investment and all the things that it needs to do. And it'll be more focused and it'll be less expensive and it'll be more plausible that this will be a hit for said studio. A hit from its AA standard. And if you are looking for a variety of those type of games, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you can't have that expectation and still want to look back over at PlayStation in the AAA genre defining space. It just doesn't, it doesn't make sense. So what needs to happen first and foremost is Xbox gamers have to solve themselves or rid themselves of that duality. You got to ask yourself, it can only be one or the other. Are you happy with the Xbox brand and the direction that it's moving? Is Phil ultimately the savior that you say he is? Or is the fork in the road that the shift in that fork that he's decided to take, is that the direction that you feel like Xbox should go in? Because that fork in the direction is towards a AAA abandoning space for a AA quantity space. And if you're okay with that, then that's fine. What you have to do is you got to stop looking over at PlayStation and worrying about the arguments over there, because they're having a completely different conversation. And I think that's been shown more than anything with this discussion around Palworld. Anybody trying to have a AAA genre-defining conversation between Xbox and PlayStation, bringing up Palworld, you've automatically ejected any plausibility for what you have to say from that discussion. You cannot use Palworld as an argument chip against people that are arguing about who has the best AAA genre-defining experiences. Now, if you want to sit there and argue, people who say, oh, I'm just doing this as a joke. If you want to sit there and argue that AAA games just are not feasible, so we like the direction that Xbox is going into because they're going to whip out more AA experiences, they're going to use AAA talent to do that. If that is your argument, then that's where you need to stay. Because the discussion over there is about AAA genre defining experiences. Get on the train, drink the Kool-Aid, move where they're moving. That's fine. Not a problem. Completely understandable. You like what you like as a gamer. That said, if you are one that likes Xbox and then expecting them to compete heavily in the AAA genre defining space, then we need to have a discussion. We need to have a discussion. Number one, you can't do what those other guys are doing. They're happy with the change that's happening with Xbox. They're fine with it. It suits their needs. Yeah, they need to cap the mouthing off because they're sitting there holding the basketball, arguing with football players. It doesn't make sense. They need to go on the train to the basketball camp and argue with other basketball players. But if you're sitting there holding a football and you're saying that Phil's implementation and the things that he's doing, particularly what we saw at the Developers Direct, that's underscoring the heightening of AAA genre defining games, you're lying to yourself. Not only are you just lying in general, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. Stop. It's not. They proved their worthiness towards the cultivation of AAA genre-defining games when A, Phil rolled out Redfall and talked about it like the next big thing from Bethesda when it was a dud, even though they expected it to score higher or land higher with the gaming public. It was a dud. Secondly, when they dropped Starfield and referenced it as the most important RPG of our generation, of a lifetime, and it wasn't. It did not land that way at all. And lastly, looking at this developers conference, when they took Hellblade, a game, which is a smaller chunk of a game, but one that was critically acclaimed for being what it was, when they bought that studio, right, and gave all these inclinations and said all these things, like they were going to put so much more into this game, like they were going to broaden the experience, like Hellblade wasn't giving all these indications that Hellblade was going to be, it was going to have the magic that it had in a smaller scale, but they were going to maintain that magic, not water it down, but just expand it. And come to find out, you're getting Hellblade 1.5. Essentially because it's going to be the same in scope. It's going to have prettier graphics, but it's going to be the same in scope and everything. And that's why I think you keep getting these jagged slices of action and gameplay. It makes you wonder, what's the point? What was the point of you even sucking these companies up? What was the point of you sucking up Bethesda if their games are going to score less under you? Or the game that does even score in the 80s is going to be more broken in its gameplay loop than a Bethesda game has ever been. What's the purpose? What was the purpose of you getting Hellblade if it was going to be Hellblade 1.5? What was the purpose of you getting Obsidian if Obsidian is going to create stiffer, less inspiring games from a AA standpoint than they were independently? How are you helping to grow the offerings of these studios independently? I mean, from when they were independent. You're not. So why would I celebrate the consolidation of these companies? Well, you're not doing anything to bolster them. All you're doing is taking their offerings and putting them in a subscription service. But this studio isn't recognizable anymore because the offerings have lessened. Now we're yet to see what Ninja Blade does. I mean, what Ninja Theory does with Soul Blade. I mean, with Hellblade. That might be a better experience, not just graphically. It might, it might leave a bigger impact than the first one. But the scale and the scope that they're just deciding to leave this game in is disappointing. So you can't have an honest discussion about Xbox's curation or their offerings in the AAA genre defining space versus PlayStation if you're going to argue that Xbox is making it better under Phil. They're not. They're watering it down. So if they're watering it down, what is it that Xbox needs to do to re-strengthen its position in this space? And how should we as gamers be looking at those offerings and should be directing Xbox in the scope of those offerings? I don't think it helps when gamers say, oh, it's all about how many first-party studios you have. That's not the conversation to be had. Hold on one second. That is not the conversation to be had. The conversation to be had is, all right, we want to be competitive in the AAA genre defining space. We want to make a name for ourselves here because we want fellow gamers to say Xbox is a great place for me to get exclusive AAA genre defining games, because then that spurs Xbox into creating more exclusive AAA genre defining games. Why do we care about exclusive AAA genre defining games? Well, when the game is exclusive, the better, just by association, that's the better it has to be, because it's exclusive to a certain platform. Like, there's a reason why God of War, Horizon, and the likes are so critically acclaimed. It's because PlayStation takes so much care with those games, because those games are the reason to bring the hardcore to the console, which then brings the casual to the console. We already talked about how that pyramid works. We've talked about it time and time again. The hardcore gamer is the cool kid with the bomber jacket on. You see that person with the bomber jacket, you ain't trying to sit there, and you may not be sitting there trying to have a beer, you know what I'm saying, behind the school, or smoke a cigarette like the cool kid, or roll one up. You ain't trying to do all that, but they look so cool with that bomber jacket on. Oh man, I want to be like the cool kid. So you get you the bomber jacket, or in this case, when it comes to gaming, you get you the PlayStation 5. You can play Call of Duty, you can play Fortnite all the same on the Xbox or the PlayStation, but the cool kids are flocking to the PlayStation. That's what I'm getting. Just like I can watch my football game and get a great experience on my LG C2 or whatever, what's the C3 out now. I can get a great experience on that, just like I can my Sony Bravia, or even my what's that damn TV that's out now. I'll say, or I can a Vizio. I'm gonna get a great screen, whatever, but all the cool kids are flocking to the LG. All the cool kids are picking up the LG. So I'm gonna get it. You see what I'm saying? You may look at your Sony Bravia versus your LG, and you might say, I really can't tell a difference. But everybody's picking up that LG, so I'm gonna go get the LG. Excuse me. That's the cool kid effect. That's what PlayStation has going for it. And the cool kid effect is, at the heart of it, is the AAA genre defining experience, because that's what draws in the cool kid, which is the hardcore gamer. So in order for the hardcore gamer to be accepted, or to feel like they're accepted rather, on the Xbox platform, they got to get that powerful exclusive, that powerful genre defining game. What can we do as a community, particularly if you're an Xbox gamer, to get Xbox to create more genre defining games? Well, you gotta first recognize your flaws. Flaw number one is you don't know what you don't know. You don't know, for one, that your problem is, instead of leading, you're following. And you're following bait. Now we will go to my tweet that I've had on the screen forever and ever, and we're going to explain it. Let me make it bigger for the people in the back. And this was the tweet I was looking for yesterday, but I had it on the Hard Knock Digital Culture M2K account. Sounds more, okay, so this is a tweet from Kid Smooth. And Kid Smooth said this back in December of last year. New Year's Eve, to be exact. He said, this will sound salty to me, but here it is. PlayStation 5 is outselling the Xbox Series S 3-1, X and S 3-1 for absolutely no reason. Now, we explained to you what the reason was, but he doesn't know. Again, Kid Smooth is a prime example of what other Xbox gamers at the hardcore level, what they fall short of. They don't know what they don't know. There is a reason. We explained it. They had one game this year. You don't know what you don't know. What you mean they had one game this year? They had several exclusive titles this year. All of them didn't land well, but they had Forspoken. They had Final Fantasy 16. Baldur's Gate was timed for a while, and that spawned sales to kick off the holiday season. You guys didn't get it on your platform till after the holiday season. Like, when was the Game Awards? It was December 12th, 2020. So that's what, 13 days before Christmas? All the Christmas shopping is already done. The decision is already made. So if Baldur's Gate was going to have any effect, and we already know this now, because even though Baldur's Gate eventually came out on December 12th, no, I'm sorry, December 7th, all the games have already been bought. The parents have saved up for the PlayStation. My kid wants to play. Oh, and then then they've already heard about this Baldur's Gate thing as an addition to that. So the effect that Baldur's Gate would have in changing things around for the holidays has already surpassed. Hence why even though Baldur's Gate ended up doing well on Xbox for a while, it was too late. The PlayStations were already bought. They're already hidden in the closets, already over grandma and grandpa's house to be brought over for Christmas Day. So any bump that you guys could have got to even this thing out a little bit more by having Baldur's Gate was already eradicated. And plus, there's other exclusives they had that just don't come to mind at the moment. Matter of fact, let me look it up. PlayStation 5 exclusive games 2023. So they had Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores. Now that was content, but they had Marvel Spider-Man 2, the content for Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores. That, even though that's DLC, that helped them create the complete edition, right? Repackaged the game for gamers who may have bought PlayStations just this year. Now they get a complete edition. Final Fantasy 16. What else did they have? They had Baldur's Gate 3, which was exclusive for some time. So they had more than just one game. You don't know what you don't know. But for you, you're thinking just the sheer volume of first-party exclusives means something to the average gamer. That's idiotic. The average gamer don't know the difference between first-party exclusive and second-party exclusive. They don't know that. So that's stupid. As a hardcore gamer, you should be able to understand how the pyramid works. You've been doing this longer than I have. What are you talking about? They had one game. People say PlayStation is better due to games, but that's not true. Even when PlayStation doesn't have games and Xbox, people still buy PlayStation. And Xbox does, and people still buy PlayStation. Okay. You don't know what you don't know. Now we get to go back. Now here goes my response to what Kid Smooth had to say. I say, sounds more like deception than anything. And that deception is you deceiving yourself. Xbox fans who follow the console war stay victim to the Sony rope-a-dope. In order to understand the Sony rope-a-dope, we got to go all the way back to Xbox One. And it started there, when PlayStation 4 took advantage of the whole DRM mess with Xbox One. And I will admit that a lot of that hoopla was overblown, overrated. But when you had the changing of the guards, when Donnie D was booted, and then Phil Spencer came in, Phil Spencer just didn't exude the confidence and direction to know that we have to rebound, we have to recollect ourselves. He was just chasing these shadows, and he's been doing that even up until now. What am I talking about? First, it was you don't support indies. So then Phil Spencer and company go on this big campaign to bolster up ID at Xbox, like indies really mean something in AAA genre defining game. That was just an attack mechanism that PlayStation fanboys threw at Xbox to make them look even more. It was a ploy. Yeah, this company they don't care about the gamers. They try to do TV DRM, and when Xbox tried to fix that, oh, look at that. They still don't care. They're still a greedy company. They don't care about indies. Really, that's all PlayStation had to support. We support the indies because their games were still cooking. Their strategy was a lot more at risk because it was going to be a while before their games could come out. So they had to hit you with the indie. Oh, Xbox don't care about the indies. Y'all fell right for that. Instead of securing more AA games, using that money to secure AA games, you put all this effort into ID at Xbox. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that indies shouldn't get support, but there has to be a priority. Xbox isn't known for its indies. What made Xbox a potent competitor to PlayStation wasn't the indies. So chasing these things that PlayStation was just making up as a ploy was a bad mistake, but Phil's been doing it since last gen. Then the next was the power narrative. Oh, the PlayStation is more powerful. So because of the power narrative, that's why we're better. Another ploy. When was the PlayStation ever known for its power? PlayStation has always been known for what? Its games. Now, did Xbox have better games at launch than PlayStation? Sure. But they just weren't good enough. Like, don't get me, Rise Son of Rome was cool. What was that? Did something. I forgot the name of that. It was exclusive. That was okay. Sunset Overdrive was aight. But it wasn't nothing like when Xbox launched the 360. Excuse me. And they had games like Call of Duty 2. Or was it the big red one? I can't remember. Whichever, they had an exclusive Call of Duty. And then, even though Perfect Dark Zero was lauded years after the fact, it was a great demo of the tech, of the graphics tech, and how much better the graphics were. Then you had what else? Then within a year's time, you had Gears, and the rest was history. Even though those games was okay, they were not good enough to rebound from the onslaught and the perception that you were a trash company about to ruin gaming. Because you didn't really care about gamers. The biggest and best way to show that you care about gamers is garner the games that they would like, that they need to play, that are going to draw the biggest attention for your platform. That is the biggest, best, and really the only way to show gamers that you care about gaming. It's just that in PlayStation's situation, they got lucky. You were perceived a certain way and they were able to pile on that perception. And you didn't rebound, you didn't respond the right way. You first followed with indies. Now you're doing the power narrative, which you've been had the power narrative. The power narrative did nothing for you with the Xbox OG. It wasn't the power narrative that won you the 360, was the fact that you had the best games that people wanted to play. To sweeten the deal, games played better on the 360. But you had the games that people wanted to play. And then, when you finally got over the power narrative hurdle, they kept throwing more dirt at you, slinging more mud at you. Oh yeah, you don't have any first party exclusives. So then y'all went and bought all these studios to develop a whole bunch of first party exclusives. But none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered is saturation brought by highly sought exclusives that needs fixed. That is the only solution for Xbox if they want to be taken seriously in the AAA genre defining space and want to compete with PlayStation. You can't compete with them unless that's what you're creating. And they have yet to create such since Phil has been here. Phil has been over Xbox for what, 10, 11 years? And they still don't have a genre-defining in 10, 11 years. In 10 to 11 years, Xbox does not have not one genre-defining exclusive. One that brings people in droves to the platform. I gotta play this. I need to keep this console, or I need to keep this subscription service. They don't have one. You had a whole bunch of people try and finesse Starfield, but they dropped out like a sack of potatoes, like a bag of wet clothes. Y'all don't know what you don't know. Phil does not know how to manage, curate, and output games at mass. Neither does Matt Booty, as far as I'm concerned. That's what you don't know. So first you have to know what you don't know. What you don't know is how to curate, create, and distribute great genre-defining games on your own. So in order to do that, you're not going to be able to do that with your first-party studios. Because when it comes to that last balance check, like what Yoshida did with God of War, no, that gotta go back. What he did with God of War 2018, you don't have somebody with that type of foresight to do that there at Xbox. You clearly don't. Is it the end of the world? No. Because of that. So what do you have to do? Because you don't have that eye. You have to look beyond just first-party exclusives. You have to look at partnerships with other development teams to bring you second-party exclusives. I'm going to tell you this. Even though the game looks highly downgraded, and it's understandable so, because of everything that's been happening in that region. I don't want to undermine that. But out of all of the Xbox exclusives, the ones that tantalize me the most in the AAA genre defining space, it's Stalker 2. I wasn't interested in the first Hellbound, not interested in the second Hellbound. They can keep that. Avowed, again, AA space, Hellbound and Avowed AA space games. I don't care about that. I am convinced from what I saw, and again, from the trends that we're seeing from Xbox, that at the end of the day, Indiana Jones is just going to be another AA game. None of those get me excited. The only thing that tantalizes my interest, possibly, if the scope isn't deceitful, if you take what that studio did with Stalker 1 and how crazy and insane and unique that game was, and if they have that same ambition and scale that they're going to work with to make a Stalker experience for 2024, then that is going to be the best game from a AAA standpoint on Xbox this year. That's what I'm looking for. What is the difference between Stalker 2 versus everything else that we're seeing on Xbox? It's from a third-party developer. A third-party developer that has seen success with this prior iteration. Now, Stalker wasn't the biggest game in the world, but it was a hit on PC. So this is a studio that already knows how to make a great game. They know how to QC the output and give you a great experience. Xbox doesn't know how to do that. What Xbox can do is buy stuff, make stuff, put it in Game Pass to keep Game Pass honest. What I mean honest, keep it honest with content. That's what Xbox can do with this current regime. If they are to have AAA genre defining experiences that are exclusive to Xbox, like let's just say if someone comes out with a game out of Activision that's going to blow your socks off, guess what? It's not going to be exclusive to Xbox. Why? Because they're going to have to spend a lot of money on that game. They're going to have to spend a lot in marketing. And just like we just witnessed with Starfield, with the game being so undesirable now, Best Buy is saying, we are destroying. We bought so many copies of this damn game and we're now going to destroy the rest because Xbox don't even want them back. We're going to first sell them for 3 cents and then we're going to destroy. Can you imagine saying that about Spider-Man? Can you imagine saying that about God of War? That would never happen. That we don't want them. That nobody else could sell them. Just destroy them. Even if the decision was made like, look, there's so many of these games, or the decision was made across the board, we're not making any more games. So, I mean, we're not selling any more games across the board, and God of Wars or Horizon Forbidden West or Last of Us 2 remakes were affected. PlayStation would still say, okay, you don't want them? Fine. They can go somewhere else. They're going to sell like, that's how bad it is with Xbox. Xbox is so less desired that people are stopping to selling the games physical. They're undervalued. And Xbox themselves, they're starting to flirt with, we're only going digital. Now, remember that lawsuit that's happening, I think, in UK against PlayStation? And we had some great discussions with Dorgon. Shout out to Dorgon, where he was like, look, he don't like this because this limits people's ability to buy games and buy them at discounts. Hold on one second. Well, guess what? It's coming to Xbox too. I don't think people understand, or people want to be honest about how bad Xbox is in this space. I think Microsoft Gaming is going to be fine. They are going to be fine, and they're going to do great financially. Microsoft Gaming overall, that's the parent company that owns all the gaming rights to all things Xbox, whatever Xbox Studios, ABK, whatever. They're going to be fine. I'm talking about Xbox, the Xbox division, the one headed by Sarah Bond. I don't think people realize how bad Xbox, the ecosystem, is in the exclusive space, in the space with hardcore gamers, rather. I don't think people understand how bad they are, and they're not being honest. Does that mean that Xbox cannot survive? No, does not mean that. It just means that Xbox cannot operate in the AAA genre defining space. The AAA genre defining space takes a lot more investment to maintain. It's like I said, the oil companies. The oil companies spend hundreds of millions to make billions. They spend hundreds of millions to make a billion. But it's worth it to them. Because even though the profit margin may be smaller than the or the ROI, the profit margin, the percentage wise may be smaller than your average consumable or your average product or service, they're bringing in big money now. So if you double 500 million and make $1 billion, that's 500 million in profit. If you double $1 billion, or if you quadruple $1 billion and make $4 billion, oh man, that's sick. We're talking about $4 billion here. So yeah, the rate of return on a successful AAA game versus an ultra successful AA game may not be the same percentage wise, but with the successful AA game, AAA game, you're bringing in a lot more money. Excuse me, just because of the cost of the game, first and foremost. Now, if you have an ultra successful game, whether it's AAA, AA, whatever, that's a whole nother tier. But we got to understand that Xbox is not good in this space. So it's either you're happy with Xbox not being good at this space and just focusing on what they're good at, which is providing you a bunch of games. If you want to ride that train, fine. But you're done with these conversations in the AAA space. But if you want to have the conversation about Xbox being a competitor in the AAA space, why do you want them to be a competitor in the AAA space? Because if they got to make a game exclusive, that means that it has to sell well on their platform. And in order for it to sell well on their platform, then that means that they are forced to do their best to make a hell of a game. Like, they can't flirt with this game. It's finally hit them. It has to have. They cannot flirt with this Game Pass stuff and it be mediocre, but it's going to be in Game Pass. So therefore the value narrative is going to hit you over the quality narrative. Now it's Starfield should have finally woke them up. They should be awakened by now. Doesn't mean they're better at curating AAA games, but now they realize that value narrative is not going to work with a genre-defining game. If you want genre-defining output, you got to have genre-defining quality. And this value narrative is not going to work. All it's going to do is create a dynamic where people finesse your game, aren't really into it, say, I would never buy this, and go about their business. Xbox was better off forcing people to buy the game to get a bigger commitment and get more sales than they were in making this accessible in Game Pass. Because by them doing that, even though they threw in that $30, get it ahead of time thing, I see where that may have caused some success, but not enough sustained success for Game Pass. They were better off just selling the game at $70 and telling people, you deal with this or you don't. Because getting all these people to finesse the game for $15, no. That being said, I wanted to show you guys an example of why second party and third party exclusives, even when they're timed, are heavily valued. I am playing a demo of a game that, well, okay, let's look at my 2023 top 3 games from last year. If I had to rank them in order, I would say Spider-Man 2 is my number 1 game. My number 2 game is Remnant. And my number 3 game, which wasn't Game Pass day and date, but it was a third-party game, was, I want to say, Atomic Heart. I really enjoyed that game. I'm liking Dead Island 2, but I really enjoyed Atomic Heart. It's just so much stuff was coming out bang after bang after bang. I got to get back to that game. Now, it may be a peculiar lineup, especially the last 2 or especially 3. But I really haven't put enough time into Baldur's Gate 3 for me. I really like Baldur's Gate 3's experience, but I really haven't put enough time into it, into the retail version for me to rank that. That likely will slide up to my number 2 position if I were able to put enough time into it. But Spider-Man 2, definitely, that's locked in stone, right? Phenomenal experience, and I think I was blown aback a lot more because I was not expecting to even like the game. I didn't even want to get it. It's just, it was so much fervor, so much about it, and I was like, well, let me see what this is all about. And it ended up being my game of the year. That being said, here's one game that is coming out that is a second party exclusive, or maybe a third party exclusive, because I don't think it's published by the platform holder. That if it released last year, this would have been my number 1 game of the year. What is it? Grand Blue Fantasy. I love this game. This game is so good. It is ridiculously good. Like, and I'm a little bit of it a play in the background, as long as it doesn't mess up the let me make sure that I don't have it at 1440p or anything. I don't think so. Oh, I do have it in 1440p. If the stream tends to get messed up, let me know. Like if it buffers on you guys' end or anything. Yeah, I'm already seeing some issues. Okay, if it tends to buffer anything, guys, let me know. But that's already if this game, I'm so blown away from the demo. I'm so blown away from the demo that, yeah, let me change this to 1080p. I'm so blown away from the demo that I already know in the 40-minute demo that I played that this game would automatically be my game of the year. And this is it's the most simplest of gaming mechanics that I can tell. I can tell this is just a slice of just like elementary gameplay that I'm experiencing with this game, that the most elementary parts of it are so great. Let me see if we can go find some actual action. We can get to some actual action here. This is a third-party game. It's a timed exclusive. Oh, no. It's an exclusive right now. I don't know if this game will ever come to Xbox. It may a few years down the road or whatever. But this game is so fantastic that it makes me happy that I have my PlayStation 5. Like, I am so happy that I have my PlayStation 5. Now, I don't know if Grand Blue Fantasy is coming to PC. Let's see. Let's take a look. Grand Blue Fantasy release. Oh, February 1st. And let's see, what is it releasing for? Oh, it is coming to PC. Oh, it's coming to PC too. Holy cow. Now, if GFN can get Grand Blue Fantasy, then I will be excited. And I might just play, I don't know. Nah, because I would want to play with Cold Blood. I think I'm going to get it for PlayStation 5. Because my friends, I have a lot of friends on, but I would get it for both. Like, if it's not cross-play, it says it's slated for PC and PlayStation. Fantasy Relink crossplay. Is it crossplay? If it's crossplay, I'll get it for PC. No, it's only cross-platform is only between PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. I'll get it for both. That's how big and important this game is. And, you know, for PC gamers that have a PC rig that is powerful enough to play this game, they would just wait for this game to come anyway. I'm talking about for those of us in the console that consume items in the console space. If you consume items in the console space, having this game exclusively on your console is a big deal. Like, this game, I feel like is going to be huge. I feel like this game is going to be huge. And there's nobody that I've talked to that has played this game. Like, I've talked to Xbox people that happen to have a PlayStation, and they've played this game and they said, holy cow, yes, this game is fantastic. These are the type of experiences that Xbox used to have in the 360 days. And when I say the type of experiences, I mean games that were just so charming, that just came out of nowhere and just pow, just hit you like, holy cow, this is what they used to have in the 360 days. And these were games that were not theirs. I'm telling you, Xbox gamer, if you want Xbox to be competitive in the AAA genre defining space, you have to understand that it's not about first party when it comes to Xbox. It's about first party when it comes to PlayStation, because PlayStation has focused a lot of their attention on the curation of their first party games, their first party studios. They have made them better over time, and now their games are the best games in the industry. Xbox may get there, but they're not there yet. Maybe they'll make the right selections in staffing or whatever, and they'll get there. They're not there yet. But because they're not there, Xbox is going to have to rely on its strategy that it used in the 360 era. That is, we're going to partner with the people that know how to make great games, and we're going to get those exclusively. That's what Xbox needs to do. Look at that combo. It's just sick. That's what Xbox needs to do. Xbox needs to work with other developers that can make great games. They need to get their second party gaming on again. And they need to do it with more veracity. They need to do it until their third-party or their first-party studios get up to snuff. If their first-party studios can get up to snuff like PlayStation, then they can rely on first-party development like PlayStation. But when people say, oh, it's all about first-party, no, it's not. First party is important to PlayStation because the best games that PlayStation can offer are their first party games. But the second party experiences and the third party experiences that you get from PlayStation, they are sick. No, they're disgusting. They're beyond sick. And Xbox just don't know how to make sick experiences. And the ones that they do make, where they got to develop it from the ground up, meaning that they got to fully fund it themselves, they're not going to just leave on Xbox anymore. So it's better that they get into a partnership with somebody so they don't have to absorb all the cost, but yet you guys still are getting great experiences. And then they can have a more conscientious eye of it because they're spending their money on it, but they ain't got to worry about development because they don't know how to develop it. That's just the truth of the matter. Xbox cannot develop great games. Not right now. No, not even with the studios that they have. I feel like Bethesda, as great as machine games can be, they already told you they're a one-trick pony. They're a one-trick pony. Not only are they a one-trick pony, but Xbox isn't focused on genre-defining experiences, taking the talent that Machine Games has and having them do something different. They're not interested in that. It's too expensive. It's too much of a risk. What are they successful with? Wolfenstein. Take a Wolfenstein template, put Indiana Jones aesthetic on it. The scope does not have to be that big. We can get enough out of the story. We can get enough out of the scenery and the cutscenes and still have a success out of that. That's what Xbox is looking to do. So the combination of the Xbox studios not necessarily having it like they used to, and the scope that Xbox wants to focus on and cap their studios at when it comes to most of their games. Look, you're not getting the AAA genre-defining experiences out of Xbox. Not right now. Not right now. Going into next generation and further, they might let their stuff brew, or they might come up with their Naughty Dog studio, someone that develops something and then can teach the rest. Okay, this is what it means to create a genre-defining experience that'll help push the Xbox ecosystem. Until they get to that point, you gotta urge Xbox to get some of these games that are like Stalker, like Grand Blue Fantasy, that are made by the people that know how to make great experiences, that are willing to make the investments towards AAA genre-defining games, and you just pay them for the exclusivity. Even if it's timed, it goes a long way in drawing the cool kid to your platform, and the cool kid then being the catalyst to the casual coming as well. That's what needs to happen. Until that happens, the Xbox ecosystem is not going to see the needle move at all. And you cannot keep chasing these fantasy dreams of what works for PlayStation or what bait PlayStation throws out towards you. You have to create your own identity. An identity that Xbox already created with the 360. You already have the blueprint. Just go back in the goddamn drawer, go in the safe, pull it out, and use it. That's it from your boy. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the chat. And we are going to, let's see here. I'm going to put up my chat. I want to be able to show my chat on the screen. So let's do this. Let's go to our feature. Oh, we will be back. Although this should be a temporary thing, feature chat is currently offline. Holy cow. Okay. Wasn't that something? So now I got to come up with a new chat program. All right, so I can't put the chat. I can't put the chat on the screen. Holy cow. Okay, so feature chat is gone. We'll look for a new chat later. Okay, let's go check out and see what you guys are saying down here. Also, what I want to do, he said, where's Old Blood Sensei? What I also want to say is, before I go to the chat and read you guys' comments, I want to say thank you again for your patience for me having problems at the beginning of the stream. I am so sorry. I don't know what happened. I'm still feeling this sensation in my sinuses. Maybe it's allergies or something like that. I hope I'm not coming down with anything. I hardly been anywhere besides work. Well, that's good enough. Work and home. But we'll see. Anywho, so let's do this. Oh yeah. So the gameplay that you're seeing on the screen, you're actually getting a treat because you're getting to see exclusive member gameplay that you can see at 4K 60. You're seeing it in it's like a chopped up 30 frames per second because it's part of my stream, you know, and I got so many things happening, you know, online. So it's stressing the internet. But if you want to see this in 4K 60, like I'll show you right here. This is actually a 4K 60 video. You can see it goes all the way up to 4K. If you want to see that, what you're going to have to do here, let me show you guys. Let me do something real quick. I want to show you guys, but without giving out the goods. Let me see here. Let me see. Oh, I didn't post this yet. Oh yeah, it's ready to post. Okay. So let's do this. What you're going to want to do is become a Patreon member, or you can become a member on the Twitch right now. Like, just hit sub. And if you have Amazon Prime, like if you got Amazon Prime, you can give us a free sub via Amazon Prime. You can do that. Or you can support the platform. We have 98 posts right now. We purged some, but we have 98 posts. This is going to be 99 because I haven't added Grand Blue Fantasy yet. But this is going to be rebranded too. This is going to just be MM2K Member Plus content. But if you come over to MM2K Member Plus and join at the $5 tier, you'll get access to this. Like we got a killer Spider-Man 2 4K 60 video, and then there's so much other content as well that we got here, or Indiana Jones explained. The Prognosis is a podcast that we run, and we run a couple of episodes of the Prognosis a week. So the Prognosis is a Patreon only show. So as you can see, we got a whole crap load of prognoses. This is called the Gaming Lobby. Now, this is one that we're going to run more frequently, Cold Blood and I. This is a show where Cold Blood and I sit down and we go over content for Fridays when we do NRO podcasts. So you guys can get a look at that. But this is all the gameplay videos and stuff that we do. We got a bunch of content waiting for you, and a lot of it is most of it is current. Well, no, I won't say most of it. A lot of it is current. A lot of current stuff right here. So definitely check it out. Join at the $5 tier or higher in order to get access to all this. The $1 tier will give you access to just the shout outs and stuff like that, right? All right. So if you want to see our Grand Blue Fantasy stream, you're going to want to go there, or you can subscribe here, or you can go over to what do you call it? Go over to Cloud Dosage. Cloud Dosage members have access as well. So either way you support us, you'll get access to that content. All right. But let's read what we have here. He says, You're not talking on Discord? Why is Discord muted? See, I didn't do that. No. I wasn't muted on Discord. It says I'm not talking on Discord. Yeah, I'm talking on Discord. It says, no, it did not outsell Zelda. Please correct it. No, Nintendo doesn't give out. Yeah, I went over that. Yo, Sean, yesterday, Most forgot to record his voice. No, that was OBS yesterday. OBS, for some reason, muted. I have no reason to mute anything on the OBS platform. I only mute here because as I'm going in here and I'm talking to the Discord, I may mute the volume and I couldn't see and I forgot to unmute it here. I've never muted on OBS and OBS did that on its own. Kid Smooth is the smartest person on the planet Earth. No, I think what it is Kid Smooth lets his anger get beside him and he just blurts out a lot of crazy stuff. Yeah, but Kid Smooth just suffers from what a lot of Xbox gamers suffer from. They don't know what they don't know. He says, what's your PSN? Oh, Paul. Oh, okay. Foxy Game, UK capping for Indiana Jones is laughable. There are people that are trying to take advantage of Xbox's content creation scene. It's hot right now. Like I said, anybody can become a content creator. Say three simple things. Coke pony. Ponies are salty. And we love Phil Spencer. That's all they gotta say. They say those three things, they're flying off the charts. And just say it regularly. That's all you gotta do. Say that regularly. You're getting thousands of followers. You're doing massive numbers on social media, YouTube, whatever. Because the Xbox gamers will follow you. The Xbox community has become so disgustingly tribal and cult-like. And yes, I'm going there. That when a fake publication lied and said that they had a contact at Bethesda, tried to call out another content creator, we exposed them here that they didn't have a direct contact at Bethesda. We exposed that what they have is a third-party contact hired by Bethesda when they gave out their Starfield codes. And we were able to do that because we looked at their conversation between Jazz and themselves and discovered that these mofos literally have a contact at Bethesda that either they're too stupid to have a contact at a third-party vendor for Bethesda that either they're too stupid to realize or they're trying to deceive people that are not the wiser about that. I think it's the latter. I don't think they're stupid. I'm seeing a lot of things them lie about. Like they lied that they got rid of an employee that said something egregious to the same said content creator that they thought they were, gonna put through the roaster when they got exposed. Right? And we've seen, and how does the Xbox community fit into this? Well, the Xbox community, even though the person lied and said, oh, we fired the employee, they didn't fire the employee. The employee is them. When that got exposed and they came out with that lie that they fired the employee, you had Xbox gamers at mass go to this entity and say, you know what? I did like you. I did follow you. But because you fired that employee, I'm leaving now. Meanwhile, the employee had hinted towards a lie of sexual misconduct between the said content creator and their spouse. Xbox gamers were willing to see that type of mud being slung about sexual misconduct between a content creator and a spouse, which was a lie, in the defense of Xbox. And when somebody said, you know what, we went too far, we can't do that, the Xbox community, large droves of them, said, no, we don't want nothing to do with you. That just shows you how cult-like they are. I remember when back in the Stadia days, Tom Warren, we hated Tom Warren, just to put it frank. I think a lot of people don't like Tom Warren because he says things that he talks a lot. He don't know what he's talking about, but they just, because he made it his business to dog Stadia out at every chance that he could. Right. But then there was a situation where somebody, and it was all staged. Somebody came out and said, F Tom Warren or something, or no, they came out with this wanted poster, Tom Warren wanted dead or alive. And then somebody else came out and they tried to use, Stadia haters tried to see, this is what the Stadia community has come to. And the Stadia community at mass said, no, we are not for this. We don't like this. This is not what it's about. Even though we don't like Tom Warren, he's hated. We are not going to support these type of threats or this type of assault on somebody that's in real life. We don't like him for his takes. That's it. We are not wishing him any harm. That's what a responsible community does. That even though you may say people argue that the behavior was cult-like or whatever, I would say the otherwise. I just say that they made sure that the facts prevailed, and anybody that didn't want to speak the facts got smacked down. That's it. They didn't play any games. That's where you can be tough and shrewd, but not be cult-like. What's cult-like about the Xbox community is that they actually want to, it's not like a hate. Like, you'll have people that, I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and I hate the Baltimore Ravens. You know what I'm saying? You'll have situations like, but they wish people harm. They want people to be hurt. They wish people ill will. Just because they don't support what they support. That is extremist behavior. And the Xbox community showed their colors. And even when I talk to a lot of them, like, the stuff that I'm saying is elementary. These are the same conversations that I've had. But they see so much in hating the PlayStation and hating the community that they've thrown all reality out of the window and they just make excuses for everything. And the only time they get mad at Xbox is when Xbox doesn't give them enough ammo to win an argument on Twitter. That's it. That's the only time they get mad at Xbox. Xbox can beat them over the head with a cash register. Xbox can lie to them. Xbox can tell you 60 frames per second is our thing, and it's not our thing. The Series S is not a bottleneck. You just got to scale up and scale down, and then, Larry and show you otherwise. So many things can happen, and they don't care. As long as Xbox gives them enough argument chips to make PlayStation look bad and an argument on Twitter, or give them enough to talking points to go with on Twitter, that's all they care about. These consumers are Xbox's best dream, because even though they got to walk a fine line in being transparent about their change in direction, you act like a de facto marketing team for Xbox, a PR team. You don't act like a consumer that happens to like a certain product. You act like a de facto PR team. Like, any lie that they tell, you have to excuse. Anything, every time they don't go, every time they go against your standards, you change the standard. You can say what you want about the Stadia team. I was of the Stadia wing, or the Stadia gamers. I was of the Stadia wing to where 60 frames per second was key. You couldn't skim on that. I was part of the wing to where y'all got to get more AAA games. You can't skim on that. I had some patience because you're a new platform. It's about the tech innovation and the promise that you bestow upon you. We get that. But at the same time, we need you to make progress here, right? And whenever they fell short of that expectation, they got it. I did not play with them about 60 frames per second. Over and over, more than enough proof. Live on air, we lambasted them. It was absurd for us to do. We did not compromise our morals. What we expected out of state. We did not compromise what we expected out of Stadia. Just to wave the flag. There were some changes that had to be made that were understandable. We said, okay, we get that. We can show some patience here, but we did not completely, and there were just some things we were not moving on. And that was one of the things. You don't see that with the current Xbox community. Like the 60 frames per second thing just was key. That just really devalued what they have to say at mass as a community. When they capped for that and made an excuse for that, that was all that we needed to hear. That has to change. You have to have standards and you got to stand by them. And one of the standards is bring us better games. You're not at the best of doing them now. That's fine. That's understandable. You guys are focused. Okay, walk before you crawl. Crawl before you walk. Okay, so let's get the teams to pump out some AA experiences to keep Game Pass honest. That's cool. That's fine. We like the way Indiana Jones looks, even though it may not be a AAA experience. We feel like that could be a lot of fun and that could be a gravitational pull to a certain extent to the platform. Fine, do that. Do what you guys feel comfortable at the moment until you're ready to do the AAA games, but we still need the AAA games. So you're going to have to outsource it. You know what I'm saying? You got to outsource it. We need more stalkers. We need more Grand Blue. Well, not more, but we need like Grand Blue fans. We need stuff over here that is compelling, AAA genre defining. Otherwise, if you're going to keep just following the changes in the marketing and make excuses for it and come up with more talking points just to win a point on Twitter, like how I see some of these idiotic takes, and don't give it to me that it's just jokes. It's stupidity. Oh, it's unsustainable to see PlayStation making these AAA games, even though they made all the money back in 11 days. It's unsustainable, blah, 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 blah. And even though Spider-Man 2 is the top 4 of the top 4 NPD games for the entire year, it's still unsustainable. For AAA games, we're going to use Palworld as ammo. I digress. Let's continue. Cold Blood says not beating Returnal or Ratchet is blasphemous. He's talking to Paul G. They're going back and forth. He says, you good in my books, but wrong. He says, yep, there is one more ending with a different cutscene. Okay, so he's checking. So Cold Blood is giving a thrash treatment to Paul Game. He says, now can you leave Paul Game alone now? Is Paul Game safe? Is Paul G safe? He says, you good in my books. Apple effect, bruh, smooth. Shout out, highlight my message. Which message, Cold Blood? He says Microsoft spent $100 billion in the last 10 years. At least that's something. He says Foxy Games trying to get subs. He says Foxy Games was a clown since he started lying about being an insider and getting every game wrong. Yeah. Sony doing it too is always popular. Spider-Man 2 is fire. Absolutely. All right, y'all. Well, that was this episode of the mic check, NRO mic check. Cold Blood, I'm gonna hit you back. Oh, I gotta do so. I gotta make a phone call real quick. I gotta make a business phone call. Then after I make that business phone call, I'm gonna see how much time I got to do some gaming. I did want to do some game streaming, but this whole thing with my sinuses was killing me. But thank y'all for being patient. All right, y'all. Until next time, y'all have a wonderful gaming day. Peace. Oh yeah, and no. One more thing. Check us out at MM2K Gaming streams. You guys are missing some great, come on. What the frick? You guys are missing some great gaming streams. Let me show you. Cold Blood and I, even if I can't do it today, Cold Blood and I, we're about to do some Remnant 2. We got episode 14 coming up, which is going to be where we beat the game. We're at the final boss. So definitely join us. You're going to want to check out all of our Remnant gameplay. And then I'm going to be doing some other gameplay. As a matter of fact, I got a short that I'm about to release. So definitely check that out, okay? Come to MM2K Gaming streams on YouTube, y'all. Y'all are missing out on some great gaming. Okay, we try to play games every day, or at least a few times a week. Like normally after I do this, I'll go play a game. So join us there for some great gameplay sessions, all right? All right, until next time, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.